know, for many of us, it is hard finding a good man, no matter what you're raised, no matter what your background. But where are all the good black men? That's the question we're asking today.
It's easier to meet a white woman or sometimes Hispanic women because black women have so much attitude when you're out or you're
Energy. What you mean by that?
I'm a grown-ass woman. I pay my own bills, and you're going to tell me what to do?
That's fine.
They did a qualitative study where they actually asked black men, why do they believe that black women are the least desired group of women, the least likely to be married, and the least likely to be remarried? And the very first answer, the black men said, it's black women's attitudes.
Have you ever heard someone say, attitude is a little thing that makes a big difference? Or your attitude determines your direction? Or attitude is everything? Welcome to Management Highlights Daily. Have you ever found yourself in a situation where you called a sister out on her attitude and the whole room exploded?
It's easier to meet a white woman or sometimes Hispanic women because black women have so much attitude when you're out or you're
Energy. What you mean by that?
It needs some energy.
Black women's attitude is the first thing brothers mention when they talk about dating black women in general. And to this day, there are misunderstandings of what is meant with this attitude. This video clip that you just saw is going to be the foundation of our presentation because everything you need to know about this attitude is present in that video clip. We dive deep into the topic of bad attitude and explore its effect on men's dating preferences and interactions with women in their lives. We're going to break this video down in chapters. We'll explain what a bad attitude is. We'll examine the causes of a bad attitude, its effects, and provide insight into why this bad attitude can change but won't change anytime soon unless something catastrophic happens. So sit back, relax, and let's explore the world of bad attitude together. Now it's time for us to get into this and do what we gotta do. Because we many.
It's easier to meet a white woman or sometimes Hispanic women because black women have so much attitude when you're out or you're
Energy.
What you mean by that? Good question, Rolanda. Let's give you the definition of attitude. A feeling or opinion about something or someone or a way of behaving that is caused by this. Now let's add bad to this definition. Unpleasant and causing difficulties, of low quality or not acceptable. As you can see, a bad attitude is not related to a particular gender or race. It's about the way you think or feel. Everybody can have a bad attitude. Yet, black women have a reputation for having a bad attitude, and Rolanda gives us the perfect example of the stereotype that is associated with black women's attitude. This is where the misunderstandings arise, because being loud and using exaggerated body language to emphasize your point does not mean you have a bad attitude. Let's give an example of what a bad attitude is and what a bad attitude is not at the same time. Pay attention to this controversial video clip.
My whole point is we can't want traditional and then be, oh, but I'm still modern though. No, you're traditional. You want men to come in and take care of you. Okay, cool. Well, then you also have to bring something to the table. If he's taking care of you, if he's working, he's paying for all your stuff, and he's paying for a majority of the bills and this, that, and the third, then you have to decide, you have to have a conversation with that man and in some way surrender some of what you want to do to meet his needs as well. Because he's also having to put some money to you in your lifestyle in funding what you want to do. Or paying extra for you to go on those trips, paying extra for you to stay in his house, paying for your clothes, paying for your bags. Yes, there's a certain give and take that we want to take, but we don't want to give.
This is Samantha Lee. she divorced Tyrese, and they were or still are fighting in court for his money. And now she's giving dating advice. I don't want to get into that, but I want you to watch out for chameleons. There are enough women in this space telling you what you want to hear. Just because it looks good doesn't mean it is good. However, in this clip, she is dramatic, gesticulating in her response video. She does this to give emphasis and emotion to her speech, while she is explaining the bad attitude women have. Women want to take, but don't want to give anything back in return. That's a bad attitude to have. That's a negative way of thinking. You cannot be selfish in a relationship. So Samantha Lee's body language and the way she uses her voice does not give her a bad attitude by default. However, it is unattractive to men in general. Let's give you another example of the impact body language has.
It happens to my 3-year-old. I was born with it. I inherited it from my Aunt Laura. So my neck just starts going crazy. And if my hands join, I'm offending you and I look like I want to fight. But in real life, I just meant what I said.
Right.
So I've learned to...
Women use this type of body language to intimidate. Black women think they are intimidating.
We hear that all the time. Black women have too much attitude. That's just me. That's just how I am. I know plenty white girls with attitude. Let me tell you. That has nothing to do with it. It's about a cultural expression. Just because I roll my head or roll my eyes, whatever, that's confidence. I have confidence in myself and I'd like to be heard, and I'm going to let you know where I stand. That has nothing to do with it. So that's a cop-out, because if you're too intimidated by me doing this or doing whatever like that, then that's on you. You need to check yourself. Have the confidence enough to step to me regardless.
It's not intimidating. It's unattractive. There is nothing, absolutely nothing intimidating about a woman, especially a woman who doesn't understand that attraction is not a choice, doesn't respect a man's preferences, his ability to choose who he wants to approach or not. A woman who does not have the capacity to understand that she is proving our point. Listen.
We hear that all the time. Black women have too much attitude. That's just me. That's just how I am.
Black women constantly hear that they have a bad attitude, and yet they refuse to take what men say to them seriously. They refuse to acknowledge that this turns men off. You see how she immediately attacks the brother by saying that it's on him. He needs to check himself, and he needs to have the confidence to step to her regardless. Regardless. Do you understand the words that are coming out of her mouth? This is the wrong attitude. Sisters expect men to deal with whatever they throw at them. You cannot have a preference. You cannot have standards. You have to date fat women. You have to date baby mamas. You have to date the town's harlot. It's not primarily about a man's self-confidence. It all starts with attraction. A man is not going to approach a woman that he is not attracted to. A man is not going to pursue a woman that he does not desire. Monica says it looks like she wants to fight. Why would a man be attracted to a woman that looks like she wants to fight him?
See, what the problem is, my brother, you just can't handle it. That's it. You can't handle it.
This is what separates men from women. We are better at handling our emotions. This man did not even finish his sentence, and the women got triggered and they immediately became hostile. How much proof do you need? This is the attitude the brothers are talking about. Black women are difficult, combative, disagreeable, exhausting, and that is because of their mentality, and their actions are a consequence of that mentality. They have the need to be right. This is where the master teacher comes in.
Shame, guilt, and need to be right. Anybody that's listened to me for the last 8 years know that that was one of my biggest mantras when I was talking about women. Shame, guilt, and need to be right. And the need to be right was always the worst. Shame and guilt can be worked on, but the need to be right is a coping mechanism for women. And where the modern version of sign language comes from, that Kevin so cleverly and brilliantly put together by adding insults. You put that I between that S and that G. It became sign language. And it's brilliant because black women project what hurts them. They know that being shamed and feeling guilty about something hurts them. So what do? They take the shame, they try to shame black men, especially, or others that are in their way. They insult them, try to make them feel guilty, then try to project themselves as above it and apart from it as an authority. That's a projection. The need to be right is a projection. So they use the other three to enforce that need to be right, or actually as a tools to be right.
Shout out to the master teacher BGS Itmore. The dramatic body language only emphasizes this bad attitude because it channels this negative energy and lures men away from these women. The sister said something interesting.
We hear that all the time. Black women have too much attitude. That's just me. That's just how I am. I know plenty white girls with attitude. Let me tell you.
She knows plenty of white girls with attitude. Yet, there are differences, and this brings us to the next chapter.
It's not it should not be a hassle. I mean, we're here for one another, and quite frankly, I think that a lot of black men have bought into what the system tells us about black women. I think that a lot of black men hold us responsible for being what we've had to be throughout the years, with not having you there as father figures and having to be the mother and the father to our children. And a lot of the other issues that go along that make us the strong black women that we are. And you guys use that against us, and it's not fair.
And why should we apologize for being strong black women?
There are many factors that can contribute to a person having a bad attitude. And it can be difficult to pinpoint a specific cause, as it may vary from person to person. However, there are common reasons why people may have a negative attitude. I always say focus on the information that's consistent. Biology is consistent. A woman is a woman first, no matter where you are in the world. That's why it's essential to include Shahrazad Ali in this presentation, because she's been in the trenches for over 30 years.
So what would you think would be the main cause or one of the main issues? Would you think it would be, or would you say it was the crack epidemic? Or is it more feminism? Or they both played the vital part of the breakdown of the family?
All of those, and nature played a part. Because whenever a female is forced to fend for herself, get her own food, root for her own protection, whatever it was, it makes us hostile toward the males in the community.
Mm-hmm.
And that hostility has played out in many of our lives. And it has made us sometimes just so upset, so frustrated, and so deeply hurt by whatever values we have made up. It's not saying they were the correct expectations, but we had them. And I think those are the kind of things that have helped to separate us.
This is why there's a black manosphere, because black men face a unique set of issues that need to be specifically addressed. Black men were never in charge of black women in the United States of America. That's why this dynamic, this hostility black women have towards black men has been here for a long time. Here's an example of what this attitude looks like.
No one's saying that we don't need men in society. Of course we do. We're talking about relationships. Yeah, you're strong, but the thing is, I can live my life as a woman and not need a man. In my day-to-day life, I don't need a man to fix my car. I'll just go to the mechanic.
But listen, right?
But is the mechanic a man or a woman? No, I'm saying yes, we need men in society, but in relationships, the only reason I actually need you is because I want you. I don't actually need you.
Do you know what?
I need you to procreate. Yes, I agree. But the thing is, I don't need you in my day-to-day life.
What if someone breaks into your house?
I'll just call the police. Okay. It's not realistic. I've not had any man break into my house on a day-to-day. It doesn't happen.
When the world is built, when the world is safe, when a woman doesn't directly have to depend on a man, she will be the first one to let you know that she does not need you. Look at the divorce rates. Look at who's filing 70 to 80% of the divorces. It's not a coincidence. It doesn't matter where you are in the world. First world country, first world problems. Daddy government is fully aware of this dynamic.
And for those who can't see it well, if I can make it a little bit larger for you, right? This is a post where a woman, posted this. She said, put some daddies in a full-time mother position, bet he'll fold. Right? And the response that she got was from one Casey Campbell. And Casey says, make sure he gets Section 8, cash aid, food stamps, WIC, 10 tax credits, stimulus checks, SSI, child support, transportation allotments, clothing allowance, diaper allowance, free phone, discounted utility bills, free child care, free college tuition, financial aid and college grants, free medical insurance, and free gender-based mental health support. For example, female domestic violence, male postpartum. Then if he folds after that, you ladies can talk, yo. And this is one of the gender divides in the Black community, because I think this has become such a reality for so many women that the perspective on men, if they're not able to match this, is that you're not working hard enough, you're not innovative enough, you're not ambitious enough, you're not out there moving and shaking the way I am. And then the other thing that tends to happen is when resources are made readily available, the way she defines ambition, the way she, even the confidence behind wanting to go out and change the world, well, that's a product of actually being able to see the benefits, being part, having institutions reach out and participate with you. It's going to spawn a very different reaction than someone who has never had resources extended to him because he exists.
Shout out to Dr. T. Hassan Johnson. So we have female nature combined with modern society, a society that's developed to the point that male provision and protection is no longer directly necessary. So now let's take a look at another cause of this bad attitude.
We always imitate our aunts, and they would be fussing or talking about the guy or what he needs to do better, tearing him down. And that was my homage to that,
And it came out live in that way.
Yeah, I was freestyling,
For the people that don't know, this is Erykah Badu talking about her hit song, Tyrone. She was able to freestyle this song easily because she grew up in an environment where it's normal to tear a man down. What do you think it does to her attitude? Her way of thinking and feeling about men, Black men in particular, when she's raised to disrespect these men. This is learned behavior. People may also learn negative attitudes from others, such as parents or peers, and adopt them as their own. Her song Tyrone became a hit because tearing down men has become part of the culture. Sisters immediately connected with that song. You see how the vast majority of these women in the crowd immediately stood up when he said attitude. This means Black women have a collective way of thinking, a collective set of values that they have learned from home. It's always the man's fault. He has to step up. He has to do better. Now you see some of the causes of a bad attitude on your screen. It's important to note that a person's attitude is not always within their control and may be influenced by factors outside of their own will. However, with self-awareness and effort, a person can work towards developing a more positive attitude. Unfortunately, things only got worse. Mental health issues play a huge factor with women in general. 1 in 4 women are on antidepressants. The modern woman is easily triggered because she's stressed out, because this society is encouraging them to do the things that they're not built to do. And in the next chapter, we're going to talk about the effects of bad attitude.
It's easier to meet a white woman or sometimes Hispanic women because Black women have so much attitude when you're out or you're walking.
You heard what the man said. It's easier for him to meet non-Black women on a show that asked the question,
but where are all the good Black men? That's the question we're asking today.
So sisters are asking where the quote-unquote good brothers are at. And now that a brother gives his opinion on his experience with black women, sisters do not want to hear it. He did not even finish because the sisters don't care what brothers have to say if it's not what they want to hear. Ignoring men's voices is going to have an effect. Not appreciating men is going to have an effect, especially if other women are willing to listen, especially if other women appreciate these men. This man already hinted what was coming in the future. This was in the 90s, brothers, 30 years ago. It has only gotten worse since then, because back then there was a wall of silence and no social media. It's not a coincidence that this space keeps growing and manosphere talking points, manosphere terminology is going mainstream. More men than ever are opting out. You don't have to be red-pilled to go your own way. 80-90% of men are invisible. When you are invisible to a woman, you're not gonna get the best treatment. The Passport Bros movement is growing and can no longer be overlooked because men are going where they are appreciated. At this point, you have probably noticed the pattern of self-centeredness, egoism. Women's attitudes are selfish. That's also part of female nature. Women are designed to be selfish in order to survive. So here's the golden question.
About being with a man because you want to. So my question to you is, why would you want to be with a man?
Why would a man want to be with you?
Because they're sexy.
Like,
I feel like
because of the companionship.
And we just talk about men. Sorry, I love men.
No,
I love dick.
We don't
okay?
sound like it, but it's not all about dick.
I don't know
what we're talking about.
We're talking about relationships. Why do you need a man in a relationship? Because you want a partner.
What's companionship, friendship, romantic love, things that you can't get by yourself.
You probably missed it because it sounds like a chicken coop up there. But Brittany Renner said companionship, friendship, romantic love, things you cannot get by yourself. Listen again.
What's companionship, friendship, romantic love, things that you can't get by yourself.
Modern women are not dating with the mindset of starting a family, with the attitude of becoming a mother. It's all about romance. It's all about sponsorship.
Or things I expect from a man if we're dating or in a relationship. And I think I had 5 or 6 things. The first thing was to pay for all dates. I talked about paying for my nails. I talked about paying for my hair, paying for gas, paying for my electric bill, and wax. The first few comments were women that were just like, you know, include rent, which at the time that I made the video, I didn't even think about rent. So I was like, man, I probably should have added that. But most women were like, you know, include rent, or they were saying how if their man pays for their rent, they don't need him to pay for everything else, or, you know, their man pays for everything else plus rent.
This is where the phrase black man ain't shit is coming from, because sisters' idea of a relationship is materialistic. They prioritize material possessions and financial status over emotional connection and other important aspects of a healthy relationship.
If you're not getting you a bargain, if you're not paying for your bills, then throw that back to the streets, okay?
In a materialistic relationship, the emphasis is on acquiring wealth, status, symbols, and other tangible signs of success, rather than on building a deep emotional connection with the partner.
And I'm not saying these things despite Sam. I'm not with Zelly despite Sam. Zelly never asked to be here. But I don't think you ever loved me. I don't think you ever loved me. Because if you did, it wouldn't be that easy to leave and never come back.
That's why it's easy for these women to divorce great men in court, take all of his money, break up the family, leave their husbands when they are not able to provide the lifestyle they became accustomed to. Irreconcilable differences after putting on a show at the altar. For better, for worse, for richer, for poor, in sickness and in health, to love and to cherish, until parted by death. These women do not love you for who you are. They only love you for what you can provide. Watch out for these chameleons. Listen to all, follow none.
The romance department, lacking in that area. Sometimes I just want to be held, you know? But I can't just have anybody hold me.
She cannot just let anyone hold her because there is no romance without finance. We all know that when it comes to romance, women are not romantic. So again, men are expected to provide women with this fairy tale experience so they can feel like Disney princesses under the guise of independence. That's why they get upset when you ask them, what do you bring to the table? Their attitude is not meant to express love, affection, or appreciation for a man. The foundation of the relationship is a feeling of love. Now here's the problem with this attitude.
See, let me tell you something. I keep trying to tell y'all about this love. Love is a feeling, man. And it has got to constantly be renewed. Respect and duty weighs more than love. You could wake up one day and love them up. Next day they do something you can't stand their ass, but out of your respect and the obligation that you set forth, you still handle your business. And then things change. You know, you might get back in love again. But see, love is a feeling. It's like drugs or liquor, anything. You gotta constantly be renewed. Why do you think people renew their vows?
Shout out to Minister Jap. His channel is back online. Show the church some love. He goes live on a daily basis. Love alone doesn't sustain relationships, marriages. This only happens in fairy tales. And now that Prince Charming is the standard, the majority of men are invisible, even if they have potential to make it big one day. Check this out.
And you know, we know each other. We go way back all the way to Chad Science in Newark, okay?
Corny kid, right?
No, I did not say that. Misquoted for sure. No, you did not hear me say. I said we used to make fun of the name. But yeah, he is obviously killing things out here.
That Michael B. Jordan is just like a nice, corny guy. And I don't mean that as a slight, right? I mean, we all know that the nice, corny guys treat you the best.
You know, it's so crazy. I went to school with Michael B. Jordan at a point in life, and we went to Chad Science together in Newark. And to be honest with you, we teased him all the damn time because his name was Michael Jordan. Let's start there. And he was no Michael Jordan. And then he also would come to school with headshots. And back then, that was like in the hood. We lived in Newark. Yeah. Like that's the hood. You know what I mean? So we would make fun of him like, what you gonna do with your little stupid headshot?
I think people define corny as like you kind of just a square. Like, you know, you look at guys that like have all the women, the swag, and it's probably like he just didn't have the swag then.
But they be corny too.
That's my point.
I agree. Like, it's subjective, you know, to everybody. But I can tell that comment obviously stuck with him for him to like even bring it up.
Absolutely. I'm sure. I mean, because people make fun about that and the fact that he, you know, allegedly likes white girls. Well, Charlamagne's big on that one.
That mean them jokes that L'Oreal them used to do in high school must have been good.
Yeah.
When you get it must have been tearing his ass up, tearing his ass up, tearing his ass up, tearing his ass up.
Where did we hear this before, guys?
We always imitate our aunts, you know, and they would be fussing or talking about the guy or what he needs to do better, or, you know, tearing him down, tearing him down, tearing him down.
Yes, from a young age, these women learn how to mess with a man's spirit, mess with a man's mind, to the point that they don't know how to deal with a quote-unquote good man, appreciate a quote-unquote good man, because a good man can make a woman feel bad because she is not a good woman. That's why these women prefer bad boys, because they take away the pressure of being a good woman. Don't be surprised when Michael B. Jordan pulls up with a non-black woman, because what happened to Michael B. Jordan highlights the cruelty of black culture.
Black American culture is cruel. This is what the Michael B. Jordan incident has laid bare for everyone to see. See, here's the thing. What happened with Michael B. Jordan the other day ain't nothing that nobody else don't know. We all know it's true. It's just we all don't want to act like it's, that it ain't happening. We all want to act like, we ain't see it. We all know it's true. We all know that Black American culture is cruel and Black women are at the root of it. It's their fault. Now, how is it Black women's fault? How is it Black women's fault? I'm going to tell you how Black women's fault is. I'm going to tell you. Because Black women, like all women, are keepers of the culture. Culture is transmitted through the woman, not the man. Now, do men have cultural input? Yes, they do. But when it comes to transmitting culture to the young, that comes from the female. So if you got Black men out here that are mistreating Black women, where do you think they got it from? See, Black women want to act like they don't know what you're talking about now. They got it from society. They got it from other Black men. You ain't had nothing to do with that. You had nothing to do with it. How about this? He saw that you ain't shit, and that imprinted on him that Black women ain't shit. Because see, ladies, you are the first Black woman in a man's life.
Shout out to Yo Man, Obsidian. The link to the full video is in the description. It's pure gold, and he explains some of the effects this bad attitude has on boys and why it's not a surprise why these men are saving themselves, why these men are opting out, and why these men are getting their passports. Let's give you another example.
What if someone breaks into your house?
I'll just call the police.
Okay.
It's not realistic. I've not had any man break into my house on a day-to-day. It doesn't happen.
Modern women don't understand that protection is more profound than just physical protection. Check this out.
That this man made, and not one man, Black, white, or otherwise, came to the Black woman's defense. Not one. And what I saw was gleeful delight from men of all races.
This woman expected men, Black men, whom she blatantly disrespects, to come to her defense when a white man trashed her on her own live stream. White men that she is encouraging Black women to date. You cannot make this stuff up. Women think this is all a game until shit hits the fan. This is what you get when you scream you don't need a man. You're manifesting to be a cat lady. She was crying because she was not giving this white man the same attitude that she's giving the brothers. Unfortunately, we cannot find the full video because in that video she says, I did nothing wrong. One of the first lessons swirlers teach Black women is to drop that nasty attitude if they want to date outside of their race. But some way, somehow, it's expected that Black men deal with this jacked up attitude because that's how they raise their sons. They raise their boys to be weak, to have no standards, and to put mama on a pedestal no matter what, to maintain the matriarchy. Don't get it twisted. Black women love to be in this position. That's why you cannot make a presentation about attitude without including this legendary video.
So I gotta ask this question. Because you're on this show with the cocktails with the queens. And there's a reason for that. It wasn't to have you defend or not defend Donald Trump. It was about, I care about what's in this contract with Black America for women. And it's not, we're not mentioned at all in the contract with Black America. And
you are mentioned. I mean, when you mention Black people, you mentioning Black women. So don't count yourself out.
No, that's not true. That's like administration say that when they
Black people is not Black women.
Black
women are not included in Black people.
No, but that's not
Attitude. Black women think they are superior. They feel entitled to special treatment because this is a matriarchy. That's why they love to use the words queen and goddess to address themselves, because that's the power and special treatment they want and feel that they deserve. That's why Black women are not Black people. Don't you dare put them in the same boat as Black men. Black women have no business embracing feminism, but they did because female nature is selfish. They will always take as much as they can, and they have no problem throwing men under the bus to get what they want, just to complain when these men decide to opt out because the sisterhood did not give men permission to go where they are appreciated. These women say they want love and romance, but they have no problem disrespecting their men, disrespecting their children, and to make things worse, disrespecting themselves.
And Cardi B and Megan Thee Stallion and Nicki Minaj, they're not helping our young girls.
No, ma'am.
You know, and I'm not thinking about none of that nonsense about don't knock somebody's hustle. If the hustle is wrong, just like selling drugs, I'm going to speak on it.
You can see most of the people who graduated in the 60s, dropouts or half-baked intellectuals, are now occupying the positions of power in the government, civil service, business, mass media, educational system. You are stuck with them. You cannot get rid of them. They are contaminated. They are programmed to think and react to certain stimuli in a certain pattern. You cannot change their mind, even if you expose them to authentic information, even if you prove that white is white and black is black, you still cannot change the basic perception and the logic of behavior. In other words, these people, the process of demoralization is complete and irreversible. To get rid society of these people, you need another 20 or 15 years to educate a new generation of patriotically minded and common sense people who would be acting in favor and in the interests of the United States society.
These are your red pill vitamins, brothers. They are bitter to swallow. You're part of a machine. You're part of a system. The collective, the majority of people are not gonna change anytime soon, especially with all this programming that is taking place in the media, in schools, and by the government. If you are in your 30s and 40s, you don't have 20, 30 years for things to get better. So now what? Check this out.
This is why I would expect more women who claim to have Black men's best interests at heart to support, promote, and encourage men to get their passports, because as A Peaceful Life just said, it's complete and even as Courtney admitted earlier, the dating market is complete trash. And I understand that not every man wants to go overseas, but if you want a wife, it makes a lot more sense to go overseas for a wife instead of holding out for the few women who are listening to Courtney Michelle's, listening to Danica Marie and changing. I mean, at the end of the day, it's 1 in 1,000 of those women who are actually doing the work, the true work. And not even to mention the ones who don't already have the baggage that men don't want. Because I find that a lot of times these women who are willing to do the work already have either passed the wall, they're somebody's baby mama, or something wrong with them that men would have to settle to deal with them anyways. The women in their prime who don't have any kids aren't willing to do the work as much as women who already have kids and who have hit the wall. So either way, men will be losing if they get a wife here. So I don't understand why more female content creators who claim to have men's best interests at heart would not advocate for men to date out or go overseas.
Now for the brothers that want to start a family, for the brothers that want to do this with a Black woman, the continent of Africa is full of beautiful Black women. Feminine Black women with a different attitude. Just be careful in the bigger cities, the touristic parts of African countries. Quality deteriorates. Yes, these women are also looking for a come up, but the ones that just want your money will show you their true colors early. Develop that skill to recognize these parasites and learn to discipline yourself, because sometimes some of the most beautiful women will stroke your ego. Think with your big head and not the little one. Do not, and I repeat, do not bring your foreign wife back home, because her attitude will become westernized. You have to make the decision whether it's worth migrating to another country. It's not easy. Cultural differences. That's why I don't recommend you take your talents overseas for a woman. That's foolishness. I've made smart investments, and that's why I never had to look for a job when I took my talents overseas. I've traveled to many countries before I found the country where I felt comfortable to set up camp. So do your homework, know the enemy, know yourself, and you need not fear the results of 100 battles. Patreon supporters, salute! Man, that's where we working. Protect yourself at all times. This video has officially been highlighted.